dog food you put in their bowl each day.
Cody was sleeping a lot, wasn't playing.
She was very lethargic and not moving around.
Dry kibble just wasn't cutting it.
That's why, after more than 45 years of experience of helping dogs make complete health turnarounds, veterinarian Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend. It's a freeze-dried raw dog food made with wholesome ingredients like premium meats, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. And once dog parents switch their pups to Nature's Blend, the results can be astounding.
She's got her energy back. She's running around like she did like 5 years ago.
Miraculously, she's just feeling all around better. She's like a new dog. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Get your dog started today and save up to 54% off Nature's Blend. Plus, receive a free pack of our best-selling beef liver dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/turkey or text turkey to 511-511. Text turkey to 511-511. All dogs are unique. Your dog's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
AL cert number 21014.
Welcome into the hottest and coolest game show around called The Freeze. Today's contestant, Bob. Bob, can you tell me the heating and air business that provides free service with repair?
Is it Talent Heating and Air Conditioning?
Can you tell me which heating and air business provides free second opinions?
Talent Heating and Air Conditioning.
You are a grand prize winner. You have won a visit from the #1 heating and air business in the Tennessee Valley.
Talent Heating and Air Conditioning?
That's right. Talent Heating and Air is coming to you.
This is Thomas with Talent Heating and Air Conditioning, and you don't have to win a game show to use us. We have free second opinions year-round, and this summer we're doing free service calls with a repair. So just remember, call Talent Heating and Air Conditioning at 256-503-4490 or visit us on our website at talenthvac.com.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunner's Landing's 18-hole championship jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's club repair shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your clubs will be returned to you in a timely manner. Unmatched in the North Alabama area, it is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslanding.com. That's gunnerslanding.com.
Alumni Hall is the ultimate shopping destination for Auburn and Alabama fans. Get your baseball gear, graduation gifts, or cheer on your team with the newest apparel, hats, and accessories for the entire family. Shop the newest collection of top brands like Nike, Adidas, Champion, Columbia, Yeti, New Era, plus 2 for $38 shirts. Sign up for the Alumni Hall Pass rewards and earn $10 for every 150 points accumulated. Come see us at Alumni Hall near Belk in the Bridge Street Town Center. Alumni Hall, where the best fans shop.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
And we start a brand new week here on The Drive. Wait a second. This is not 1 hour. This is 2 hours. There is no more Hey Coach. Hey Coach is done. Now, I am joined by neighbors, but little did I know that Wes really didn't want to do a 2-hour show on a Monday, and he was fully committed, and I mean fully committed, to not doing a 2-hour show today, as Keith is kind enough to be here with us. How are you, Keith?
Steve, I'm great. How about you?
You know what? I really don't know what I'm allowed to say or what I'm not allowed to say. All I know is that Wes is on assignment and is recovering. I mean, he's okay, all right? He's fine. Well, he's resting comfortably.
Yes. I hadn't talked to him about what.
I didn't either. That's a demerit on me, and I'm sure I'll find out. Well, I know he's not listening right now, but there's a chance I could be taken into the principal's office just for saying what I'm saying. Anyway, I say that to welcome you in, and this just in.
Well, again, the 1-2 pitch. Swung on at a deep drive to center field. That's going to send Harris back to the wall with urgency. That's out of his reach. It's over the wall. It's another home run for Ohtani, and it's 2-0 Dodgers.
That's Shohei Ohtani. He's pretty good at baseball. As the Dodgers swept past the Braves over the weekend, but
better at baseball than accounting.
Yeah, well, and hiring interpreters. And anyway, so that went on over the weekend. Also, a certain I don't have a Netflix subscription. You do? Did you watch the roast of Tom Brady last night?
I didn't watch all 3 hours because it was getting past my bedtime. But my son stayed up and watched it all, and he said it was hysterical. And what I watched was
We got so many
funny.
great football greats here tonight. But where's Roger Goodell? I know. Remember Deflategate? The NFL spent $20 million and found that it was more probable than not that I was generally aware that someone may have deflated my footballs. You could have just given me the $20 million, and I would just told you I did it.
So that was a little of the highlights last night. As actually, if you're a fan of this particular program, no, I did not watch the full 3 hours, but I did watch Bill Belichick. And I'm telling you, Bill Belichick, it was fantastic. Did you see that part of it?
Yeah, I did. It looked like everybody was having a good time.
Yeah.
If you ever watched the roast, the language is
it's blue.
Yeah, it's not for work.
No.
But if you have that kind of sense of humor, which I do, I found it very funny.
I did. Maybe Will Ferrell as Ron Burgundy was pretty good too. But
really you won't be forgotten. You'll always be remembered as Eli Manning's bitch.
I mean, hard to get better than that. But there was a couple from Bill Belichick that I thought was fantastic. Here you go. Here is.
Seriously, Tom and I had our differences, but it only comes to love and respect about our relationship, and we did some special things together. For all of you out there that think about who's responsible for the Patriots' success during the time when Tom and I were there, was it Brady, was it me, was it Brady, was it me? In reality, the truth of the matter is, it was both of us because of me.
He is going to be so good on Monday Night Football. He's part of the Manning cast. Oh. So it's going to be Peyton, Eli, and Bill on the Manning cast, and I was just like, sign me up. And I hate it because both Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are really good at what they do as well.
So when I turn it over to the Manning cast, especially if I know there's a guest on there I want to see or whatever, you kind of get caught up in not going back to the real game.
Thank you.
And I like traditional broadcasts, but the NFL is a lot, to me, is more, I think, scripted. It's more routine. It's more,
You know what you're going to hear 9 times out of 10 out of a play-by-play guy because you've seen so many games.
Yeah, and
in the Manning cast, you're not going to get, well, here's what I saw with this coverage or some other storyline that they go off on a tangent about. And that's entertaining.
And I know Eli knows what he's talking about because, some people I'll listen to, and they said, well, they're in a man-to-man here, and I'm looking at it, and I was like, that's not man-to-man. That's zone. What are these guys talking about? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And some of that's not really NFL. Some of that's the new guys doing the smaller college games. That drives me crazy. Then you get on the FCS level, those guys are a lot of times.
Well, a lot of those guys feel like they have to overanalyze.
Just talk all the time.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do. I mean, you're wonderful at what you do, but I couldn't. I don't think
he's hired. He's hired.
I don't think. I don't think I could even be a color guy.
That's been hard. I did a couple of seasons as a color commentator, and to me, that's a lot harder than play-by-play because you have to immediately analyze what's going out on the field.
I would have to watch. I would have to become old Keith and watch a ton of film.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well,
it's been 30 years since.
Coming up on the program today, some news out of Alabama basketball as Clifford the Big Red Dog has steered clear of Chapel Hill and heads to T-Town. So Brian Pasek is going to join us here in about 10 minutes' time. And then she did it again. She did it again as her UH Chargers are once again in the NCAA tournament for the 21st year in a row. UH softball is heading down to the capital city of Montgomery, and that will start on Thursday as Coach Les Studeman is going to join us. And also coming up, now listen, I know this is not the world's biggest NBA town. I get that. I understand that. But I'm just telling you, the Minnesota Timberwolves are fun to watch. And they made a statement in the first round against the Suns. They made a statement in the first game against the defending champs, and Scott Hastings from Altitude Sports, he is going to join us in hour number 2 to talk a little bit about that series. But I'm anticipating a different level of focus tonight from the defending champs, and we'll get that word from Scott Hastings coming up in hour number 2. I owe you his phone number, Brian. Good to see you, sir.
Glad to be here.
Let's try to squeeze in Ray before our first time out. How are you, Ray?
I'm well. Yourselves?
Doing well.
You know, the association's making some waves, keeping themselves relevant. Pat Riley's helping the world.
I heard a funny stat about on the subject of Pat Riley of just LeBron has now had 9 different coaches in the NBA. 8 of which have been fired. The only one, Eric Spoelstra, the last man standing, when it looked like he was just like going to be down there for a minute, and he's now a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I was going to say, nobody talks about that guy as the pole position for how you're measured.
Yeah.
But all that dude has done is win.
Yeah, even when he didn't have the dudes. Yeah.
I don't think you could pry him out of Miami at this point, but
no.
If I'm the Lakers, I at least call the dude.
Wouldn't be a bad thought, although I really don't see him leaving either.
I think the only way to make LeBron happy is let LeBron be like a Bill Russell player coach.
I
don't think it'll work.
I don't see him as a Bill Russell. I really don't. But
I don't think it'll work, but I think
he's
it'd make him happy.
He's more apt at complaining about a coach than being a coach.
Yeah, but mentioning the Manning cast, Eli had the shot of the night.
Yes, he did. Yeah, on Twitter or X or...
Yep, for those of you who are not aware, Eli Manning said, I really thought about going to the roast. I didn't want to roast him for a third time.
That's for the win. I mean, that's... completely for the win.
Okay, Eli, you won the night. Good job by you.
Likewise. Thank you, Ray. Always great to hear from you, sir. Let's take our first time out. We are going to talk college basketball. We may sneak in a little NBA, but mainly there was some big news out of T-Town as Clifford the Big Red Dog is in Tuscaloosa.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's a beautiful day for a ball game.
Here it comes, and there it goes. Fly ball, deep left field, way back. This one is up. This one is gone.
Grab your peanuts and Cracker Jacks and get ready to cheer on the Tide.
Called third strike, a slider, lower inside corner.
The Tide plays here all season long.
Here's a spin. Here's Bowman's throw home. The slide, and he's safe.
On your home for Alabama baseball, the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. If you've been injured and need a lawyer right now, do you know who you really get?
I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. You want to talk to your lawyer. My clients talk to me.
And me. I'm attorney Justin Lackey. We're the ones that you talk to.
And we're the ones who handle your personal injury case.
And we'll take care of it.
The Lackey Law Firm. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
One of the best-kept golf secrets in the Tennessee Valley is Cherokee Ridge. Cherokee Ridge truly offers golf at a higher level with immaculate greens set against a spectacular Appalachian backdrop. This 18-hole championship course takes every advantage of rolling hills, whispering woods, lakes, and streams. Interested in becoming a member? Their membership plans feature affordable options for couples, families, and individuals. Book your tee time today, 256-841-4551. Cherokee Ridge. Championship quality, affordable prices. Make your taste buds come alive with a visit to Huntsville's newest taste sensation, Salt Factory Pub at Mid-City, offering a creative menu featuring a variety of classic comfort foods with international influences. Salt Factory Pub is the perfect destination for everyone. Salt Factory Pub also has an unbeatable beer list of more than 50 different draft and bottled brews. Just a short walk from the Orion Amphitheater, Salt Factory Pub is the perfect spot for great food in an inviting and casual atmosphere. Find out more online at salthuntsville.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
It's a Monday edition of The Drive. No Hey Coach. So we're kind of giving you another version of Hey Coach, as Keith Neighbors is filling in for Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton here back with you, as there is, I tell you, I'm a basketball head, and I know Drew Yarman, who's in the morning, is another basketball junkie as well. I love the fact that we have a legitimate reason to talk local college basketball in the month of May here in the state of Alabama, as Brian Pasick is kind enough to join us from the Crimson Tide Sports Network. BP, how are you today, sir?
I am doing great. How's everybody?
Doing real well. And are you a fan of the Sunday morning show Clifford the Big Red Dog?
I am now. It's my favorite cartoon. So, no, listen, what a great day for Alabama yesterday. And listen, you can love or hate the transfer portal and the state of college athletics with guys moving around. And listen, over the years, we at Alabama have had guys leave that you hoped would stay. But the consistency under Nate Oates is that every time he's had guys leave, he's replaced them with as good and usually better players. So the transfer portal has been so good to Alabama and Nate Oates, and it's a big reason why when you look at some of the preseason projections for next year, Alabama is at or near the top in most polls.
They're number one on 3 today.
Yeah.
Not bad.
That part's fun to follow as well. And retention-wise, how do you feel about the potential of Sears coming back?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think that he's doing the right thing. I mean, he had an absolutely incredible year, consensus All-American, led Alabama to its first ever Final Four, and he has dreams like pretty much all these guys. They want to play in the NBA, and I think it's a smart move to put his name in, and he'll go to the Combine and have a chance to prove himself. And listen, selfishly, I hope he comes back. For Mark's sake, I'd be happy for him if he gets the feedback that he would love, and that's that he would be drafted, and probably a first-round draft pick for him to go would be my guess. Although if he was projected to be a second-round pick, then he's got a decision to make. But if he's going to be projected in the first round, I wouldn't be surprised or blame him at all for leaving. And you go back a few years ago, and a guy like Josh Primo put his name in the draft, and everybody thought he was crazy for staying in. But the reason he stayed in is he was projected by some teams, and maybe not publicly, but that he was going to be a first-round draft pick, ended up going in the lottery. So I think Mark is in a great position to where he could come back to college and lead one of the best programs in college basketball right now. And with the NIL situation, he's going to be okay in that regard. And if he decides to go, if he gets a great grade that he wants and feels like he'd be a high draft pick, then he'll probably go. Either way, Mark Sears is going to be in great shape next year. But and the good news for Alabama is, while you would absolutely love to have Mark back, even if he decides to stay, Alabama's going to be really good next year. Obviously better with Mark, but either way, Alabama is a top 10, top 5 caliber team, and with him, maybe number one, which is you guys mentioned, Alabama on 3, number 1 in the country, in the way, way, way too early preseason top 25.
Yeah, and it just kind of goes to the this eye for talent and developing the talent as well, and we've seen it really ever since Nate Oates has arrived in Tuscaloosa, BP.
Yeah, the one area that I don't think gets enough credit for the staff is player development. Yeah. And I think that's why you're able to go head-to-head with the best programs in college basketball and get players that before Nate Oates got here, Alabama did not beat players that maybe you beat the North Carolina, Dukes, Kentucky on in-state guys, but you didn't beat them, especially on a guy like Jaron Stevenson. I mean, he's from Chapel Hill. His family has North Carolina ties, and they wanted him desperately, and he comes to Alabama. And, yes, style of play is important.
Is he in the portal?
No, he's not in the portal. He's put his name in the draft a lot like Mark, has an opportunity to come back.
Okay.
And I would expect him to come back, although I don't know that for sure. I'd be a little surprised if he doesn't. But, putting his name, going through the process, and I think he's going to be an NBA player one day. I'm not sure that now's the time, but we will see on that. But Jaron is one of the top recruits in the country. North Carolina wanted him. He decides to go to Alabama. And, as I was saying, player development is a big reason why Alabama gets guys where they want to be in college and at the professional level, as well as anybody, even better in a lot of cases. And when you take guys where they're projected to go before they come to Alabama and where they end up going after time in this Alabama basketball program, there's nobody that improves your stock better than Alabama and Nate Oates. And it's a big reason why you can go and get some of the biggest fish in the high school ranks. Alabama will have, I think now, 3 McDonald's All-Americans on their team next year, and in the transfer portal with some of the most high-profile transfers in the country, and big reason why Alabama could have its most talented team ever next year.
Was 22-23 more successful than 23-24?
So, I mean, listen, you go back 2 years ago, number 1 overall seed, you won the league, regular season SEC tournament, and next year you have what many consider a rebuilding year and go to the Final Four. I mean, listen, oh man, what a great question, and I mean, listen, I'm going to take the Final Four. I'm going to take last year's run. I mean, that's something that I think is huge for this program. Alabama has won SEC regular seasons, SEC tournaments, and those are, I don't want to diminish those. Those are big deals, and that was a great team. And a Sweet 16 is nothing to be disappointed in, although that was the team that I think a lot of people thought would go to the Final Four. And we talked about it after that loss to San Diego State a couple years ago, and that was if you put yourself in a position where you're going to the tournament every year, you got a pretty good seed, eventually you're going to make a run, and eventually you're going to break through and get to a Final Four, and it might be in a year you don't expect, and this past year would be in that category. But if you ask me what I would rather have, I'd rather have a Final Four. Because that is, I mean, that's the promised land in college basketball. So this past year was amazing, but gosh, I mean, the year before, number 1 overall seed and championship rings and banners. Let's just say it's been fun to be an Alabama basketball fan here recently, and I don't think that's going to be slowing down anytime soon.
I joked with your broadcast partner. Chris Stewart told me he wasn't going to do baseball this spring, and it was right after you guys cut down the nets there in the West Regional Championship, and said, so how you enjoying your break? And he loved it, by the way. So worked a little bit longer there on the play-by-play side of things.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's not work. I mean, we're in Phoenix for the Final Four. I mean, it was amazing. Now, the older Chris and I get, we've been doing it together for over 20 years now. You get a little more tired with travel, but man, it was a good tired. It was an incredible year, and to go from Spokane and to LA and then Phoenix in the NCAA tournament. I mean, for an Alabama basketball guy like myself and someone who's dreamed of this program going to a Final Four, I mean, it was amazing. But to see what Alabama has done since that Final Four run and what they've done in recruiting and the portal and, to have a chance to maybe get back to a Final Four in the near future is maybe just as exciting as that run to Phoenix a month ago.
Talked to Enos Watley right before the Final Four, and he mentioned to us that he was heading out there, but it made me wonder how many did it turn into an alumni function out there in Phoenix?
It was amazing. I mean, listen, I don't know if y'all have ever been to a Final Four.
One time.
It's just with the way they do it now, and I've been to a handful of Final Fours, and I have literally sat on the top row of a dome with my head. I mean, like behind me is concrete. I am on the top row of the upper deck, and you can kind of make out a court, and the players look like ants. But there's something special about 75,000 at a basketball game. I mean, the roar is unique. The way it's set up now with the court at half court, and they build around it, so there are much better seats than there used to be. More better seats, I should say. But there were a lot of people there, and there were a lot of former players there. I didn't get to see everybody. Everybody's kind of spread out, but there were a bunch of people, a bunch of Alabama fans. I think, out of the four schools, I thought Purdue had the most. And then I would say Alabama was right there with UConn as second, and then after that, maybe NC State. Crimson Tide Nation was well represented in Phoenix, and that was not an easy place for Alabama fans to go to. And I know I flew my daughters out there, and if you got to Phoenix for the Final Four, it was worth it. It was incredible, but it was also not cheap, as I can attest to flying my daughters out there. But it was a great time, and I think everybody, even though it didn't result in a win or a national championship, there's just something special about being at a Final Four, and for Alabama to finally get there, I think everybody was just excited, and it was a special, special weekend.
5 years into it, what impresses you the most about Nate Oates and his coaching style?
Well, I knew that we would play fast. It would be exciting. I wasn't sure, could he recruit? Obviously, recruiting's off the charts. I think what has impressed me the most is, I mean, his plan is better than the opponents. I mean, he's a lot like Nick Saban. You feel like, okay, our head coach is probably he's a little different than the guys he's competing with. I mean, where X's and O's and understanding of the game and passion meet the intelligent side, the analytics, the math teacher. He's doing it at a different level, and it's when you talk to him, our staff, some of the analytics people around him, and how they go about doing things, it's just at a different level. And I think college basketball will eventually try to replicate it, but this is not common, the way Nate Oates approaches it from an analytics standpoint, and that is in-game recruiting, preparation. I mean, and there's, as simple as where Alabama takes its shots from. Our shot chart looks different than most. It looks more like the NBA layups threes, free throws, the most efficient shots, and that's obviously by design. And it's a big reason why guys improve. They are at their most efficient playing this style and under Nate Oates, and it's drilled, and guys get better. And obviously the winning is taking care of itself. But he's just at a different level, and I think a lot of people consider him as one of the best, if not the best coach in the country. Now, you might say, okay, that's crazy. Danny Hurley has won 2 national championships in a row.
Yeah.
But when you look at the runway that's ahead for Nate Oates, I wouldn't take anybody over him. And I would say this: could Danny Hurley come to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and do what Nate Oates has done? Maybe he can. I'm not sure he could, but I know Nate Oates can because he has, and it's continuing. But I think he is, if not the best coach in the country, one of the top 2 for sure. And I am so thrilled that he's our coach, and he's going to be our coach for a long time.
Yeah, and how timely was that contract extension after what we saw in Lexington and in Fayetteville during this downtime?
Yeah, Greg Byrne, by the way, he's pretty good. I mean, he knows what he's doing. I don't think that was just a coincidence that Nate Oates just happened to be locked up before all these big jobs came available. And I think Greg and the administration could see what was coming, whether it was this year or in coming years. Alabama was going to break through on the national stage and go to a Final Four and compete for a national championship. And he knew that. It became pretty clear that it was going to happen. And the fact that he got Nate locked up, and listen, that's a two-way street. Nate is obviously highly sought after. He could go anywhere he wants and wants to be in Tuscaloosa and feels like he can win at the highest level in college basketball in Tuscaloosa. And I'm so glad he feels that way, because he wouldn't have signed that long-term extension and crazy high buyout if he didn't believe it. So we're seeing the fruits of that right now, and it's just a great time to be a Bama basketball fan.
I did not start the show with this, but the passing of Hootie Ingram, wanted to get a thought or two on maybe some interactions you had with the former athletic director down there in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, Coach Ingram, hated to hear that today. Sad news. Obviously, a great Alabama man from the time he was a player and coach and athletic director. He was the AD when I was in school, so knew him well, and and always appreciated what he did for the university for so many years in so many different capacities. But just tough news, and I know some of his family, so be thinking of them and praying for them right now.
Hey, when Brian and I were at Alabama at the same time, so Hootie would come and almost eat probably 3 or 4 times a week with the players at Bryant Hall, the basketball and football.
Right.
Yeah, and he'd come sit down with you and just talk, see how you're doing. Before that, the athletic director before him, I won't say his name, but I never saw him once, ever, in the building. He never was around. Hootie was, he was always talking with the players, just checking on you. He was a good guy.
Yeah, and you're right. I remember that. He was always fun to talk to, and Greg Burns a lot like that. I mean, he's around these players, and he's in the middle of it, and just kind of, I mean, he's running the show. Everybody knows who's in charge, but he's one of the guys in a lot of ways, and Hootie was like that as well.
Brian, I can't thank you enough for hopping on. I love the fact that we're talking Alabama basketball in May more than anything.
Oh man, I mean it's great. I love it. I want to talk Alabama basketball 365, and now I think everybody's catching up with me. They're wanting to do it as well. But no, it's definitely good times, and always appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys.
That's Brian Passink from the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Of course, played at Alabama and has now been part of the network for over 2 decades. Haven't put up with Chris Stewart. So, I mean.
So, all right, so when you move into Bryant Hall,
yeah,
the old Bryant Hall,
yeah,
you had a freshman wing, 3rd floor, all freshmen football. And then on the third floor on the right side was basketball and maybe 4 or 5 football rooms. The rest was basketball. So after my freshman year, most people like to move to the second floor. I moved to the third floor basketball side and stayed there for about three more years. And but we were really good then. We had Robert Ory, Latrell Sprewell.
It's pretty good.
And Hollywood Robinson. And, of course, Brian.
I kept waiting for you to say Brian.
So, but anyway, so I was always a big basketball fan growing up too, and I went to almost every home game unless I couldn't, for either football or for.
I mean, Wimp was worth the price of admission.
Oh, my dad! I'd meet my dad over there, and him and a couple of his buddies would come down, and Dad would just watch Wimp the entire time. He wouldn't watch the game. So.
Good stuff there from Brian Pasick. Let's take our final time out here in this first hour. We still have another hour to go. What is this 2 hours stuff we're doing here? Goodness.
You're not in shape for this shit.
I know. For what?
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
Handshake Barbershop, a vintage barbershop feel where you can catch up with an old friend and maybe make a new one. We still do classic men's haircuts, beard trims, and hot towel straight razor shaves. Plus, we offer more modern, trendy haircut services. Enjoy arcade games and rock and roll spinning on vinyl while you're here too. Book your appointment online at handshakebarbershop.com. Everything you love about your favorite barbershop, but with our own special DNA. In Arab, Gunnersville, and now at Cherokee Ridge Country Club. Online at handshakebarbershop.com. Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed. Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Do you have discomfort in your legs? Varicose veins can affect not only how your legs look, but how they feel. Symptoms can include pain, heaviness, aching, fatigue, or swelling at the end of the day. If this has been the case, then Varicosity Vein Center can come to your aid. Evaluation and treatment of the veins is performed as an outpatient, utilizes the latest, minimally invasive techniques, and is covered by most insurances. After treatment, patients may resume most normal activities without delay. Varicosity Vein Center now has 3 North Alabama locations, one in Huntsville on South Memorial Parkway between Drake and Airport Road. Our new locations include Madison at Madison Hospital Complex and Coleman at the Coleman Regional Sports Medical Center. You can call 256-715-7151 to set up your appointment with one of our experienced and compassionate team members, or you can visit online at varicosityveincenter.com. Varicosity Vein Center, Alabama's premier vein center.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Relatively warm as we head into the overnight. It also looks like we're probably going to end up staying dry across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures only dropping into the mid and upper 60s. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky for your Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. We are making a solid run at 90 degrees. Showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible across the Tennessee Valley as we head into overnight early into your Thursday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your Rocket City Trash Pandas host the Mississippi Braves, starting tomorrow at 5:50 on Talk Radio WZZN.
It is a Monday edition of The Drive, along with Keith Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you. I got a feeling our next guest was doing some thinking about halfway through, maybe like a third through the season. A lot of injuries to this Charger team, but earlier today, some good news. I mean, making the NCAA tournament is a big deal. How about doing it for 21 straight years? This is just amazing. As Coach Les Studham, the Hall of Famer, is kind enough to join us. How are you, Coach?
Well, I'm a little bit relieved right now, but, super proud of what our team, not really super proud of what we did to get ourselves in the position to have to sit there and wait on those numbers, our name to be called, but super proud of what we did at the end of the season to scratch our way into it. I mean, just every domino fell.
Well, but you put yourself in that situation, though, Coach.
Yeah. I'm not complaining. We have. This is a very easy team to love. We have, we were down a first-team All-GSC pitcher. We were down a first-team All-Region outfielder who hit about 500 last year, and we have patched that up and found ways to win. And it's been we've got 39 wins. That's a great season, but also a testament to how great the GSC is that there's that many teams with that many wins and trying to get in.
Well, looky who's here, and that is a team that you got to face that first weekend down in Tampa with the Spartans. Tell me what you remember about that series, Coach.
Well, there weren't very many runs scored, I can tell you that. But their field is beautiful. It's just absolutely gorgeous place to go play softball. But it is 240 feet deep all the way around with a 15-foot high fence. So, number one, their offensive numbers are never as good as they really are offensively, and they are very good offensively. And number two, we have been at times really just completely absent at the plate, but their pitching is always, those numbers are PlayStation numbers on and for a pitching staff. So, Mississippi College, you can get it off the handle and get it out of there. So it's a different type of setup.
So, yeah, it'll have a different feel and a different venue for obvious reasons of being the NCAA tournament for one, but to go back to Chakalaka to how about throwing a no-hitter? That seemed very special for Katie.
Absolutely. You'd have to if I was not on the radio.
I'm kidding. Go ahead, Coach.
Freaking believable. We had to have that win. It at the end of the day, at the bottom, after that win, they could not put West Alabama in above us, and there were so many teams that they couldn't put above West Alabama. And so that win on that stage with what was on the line, I mean, like, y'all, I cannot tell you. Actually, the Valdosta coach came in the dugout after the game was over and said that was a no-hitter, and everybody was so locked in, nobody even knew it. I mean, he came in the dugout and said, did she give up a hit? And me and Carter looked at each other, and we were like, I don't think so. I mean, just that's how dialed in everybody was into what we needed to do.
That was a 1-0 game, by the way. It's not like it was, a run rule early. I mean, 1-0. That just, you mentioned dialed in, Coach. That is wow.
I mean, she is super, super, super special, and I've said since I watched her pitch in high school that she's got it. And if you've got a circle drawn around her, you got a chance to win any game. And that is, she's had so many great performances that have given our team chances to keep playing that it's unbelievable. And that is right up there with all of them last year. I mean, the 16-inning game last year at Tampa, we ended up losing it, but, I mean, she pitched 11 innings of that and gave up 1 run. And she's just amazing when she is in that space, and it's amazing to watch.
And you're able to do that because that first game you were able to throw Josie, and her growth as well kept you in that one, albeit a 3-2 L, but nonetheless you were in that the entire way, Coach.
Oh, gosh. I mean, you've seen, Steve, we have the one bad inning where we just come apart, and we had the bad inning against MC and came apart, and they get 3 on us. And, we had chances to score the whole game, and we just could not get a hit through. And that's a credit to their pitcher. I mean, she's the pitcher of the year for a reason, and they were the regular season champion for a reason. But, I mean, like, I felt like even the AUM game where, the score was kind of lopsided, they scored 7 runs in 1 inning on plays that we expect to make. And that's sort of been the story for this year when we've had losses where we just have one bad inning. And but heck, if we can have 6 really good ones, it doesn't matter. We can still win. So Bracken, what she did, what the defense did, and just to be able to scratch that run across, because West Al's pitcher is awesome too. I mean, just some really great players in the GSC this year.
Of how it broke out, I mean, you never want to lose 11-3. I get that, and I understand that, Coach. But knowing the fight that your team has, I feel like it's setting up pretty well for you in the capital city, Coach.
Well, we're going to Clinton. We're going to Mississippi College.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that, and it's not been a very friendly place for us, but we're not playing Mississippi College. We're playing Tampa, so
yeah.
I would love to get to the capital city, though. I'd love to get a couple 3 wins and get there.
Where in my mind was going, right?
Yep. Yeah, you're already a weekend ahead. You want to hear a funny story about Tampa last year?
Please.
All right. In the middle of our last game with them, a snake slithered out on the field, and Tampa's shortstop ran over and picked up the snake and carried it out to the outfield fence and put it through the outfield fence. And so this morning, when I saw Mississippi College was hosting, I was like, they better not pick up any snakes in Jackson, Mississippi. This kind of hits a little different than the little garter snake in downtown Tampa.
Yeah, I would imagine so. Talking to Coach Les Studeman right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. At least in my world, we always talk about who is the most improved, or tell me someone who's improved most. I like the more of the stories of dependability, of the person that you can just plug and play. I've got a couple in mind, but I'd like to hear just dependability-wise, who's been kind of the rocks of this team.
Well, the plug and play, Lauren Hayes, plug and play, Alexa Dowsett, and I would also say she's probably the most improved from last year and co-player of the year. And really, to be honest with you, I really expected her to get it last year. She sort of got she was in a competition for her position last year, and she ended up on the low side of that, and I really thought she would do this last year, and she just didn't really I didn't really give her enough of a chance to do it, and so I think the plug and play low and Alexa, and then I think Josie's probably been our most consistent pitcher. But I mean, like I said, you expect to win every time you put Bracken out there.
Yeah, and I certainly don't want to gloss
Who's
over.
yours?
Oh, I was going to say Lauren. I mean, it just the leadoff position, and they're at second base, which is a harder position than people are tending to believe, because you always hear shortstop is the best athlete, and there's a lot of truth in that. But second base is just as hard, in my opinion.
Well, the coverages and fast pitch at second base, and the coverages are so much. There's so many more chances to cover so many first and second than there are to cover second and third at shortstop, and so you really need somebody who understands the position, and then they're not. She's gotten more ground balls than anybody on our team. So, and she's just as solid as they get.
What I didn't want to gloss over was a walk-off there in that first game. Pretty cool moment for Maddie.
Man, I'm telling you what. If people around town there's nobody in softball in her era that does not know who she is for things just like that. And sometimes she forgets how awesome she is sometimes. And, I hate that for her, but what she does, she is the most fun person on the face of the planet, and she talks the whole game. She is, and
she's a first baseman. They all talk.
Yeah, well, she can, man. She can talk, and she is so fun, and just how much she knows about the game and her instincts are just unbelievable. I mean, she is just the walk-off home run's awesome, and that if you say Maddie Cartron's name to anybody in softball, they're going to say that she can hit home runs. But what people don't realize is just like she is just a baller. She could play. I think she could play any position and be really good at it.
Well, and I'd say behind the plate has been rock solid as well. But Jessica Eddy has been kind of your go-to back there, and the defense really is. It's when you don't have to talk about a catcher, that's how I would know how good of a catcher you have.
Just absolutely. The little things that you don't see that she does, that you don't notice, that don't have a stat sheet, just and how one of the pitcher's dads at West Alabama, Josie was out there pitching, and she was a little bit shaky, and Tank called a timeout and went out there, and one of the and completely settled down. She wouldn't even notice that, and one of the dads said, I mean, that's a catcher that knows her pitcher, to call timeout, to get her settled down, and that's Tank. I mean, she's just she does not meet one person that doesn't love her, and I mean love her.
So tell me about the moment. Usually coaches are given kind of a heads up, and did you know that you were making the NCAA tournament before the video came out?
We did not, and I told we've not been in that position very often, and I'm not complaining about being in it this time. But, our assistant, Melanie Carter, great player, been up in a lot of these moments. And, she
Hall of Famer in her own right.
Hall of Famer. I mean, she's like, do you really know? And you're not. I'm like, Mel, I mean, no. We're never in this position where we have to wonder if we're in. And truly, it was very close. I mean, the numbers came out today, and I mean, we deserve it. But so do some other teams, man. I mean, the thing they hung their hat on all year is that strength of schedule, and ours bumped up. If you go to the GSC and you play ranked teams, you're going to bump up, and that's what happened.
21 years in a row. I mean, trying to wrap my head around that is over. I mean, I know it's obvious, but to say it over 2 decades of going to the NCAA tournament, that's just. That's remarkable, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you. And you've been around long enough to know how hard it really is to do it in Division II. I mean, people just do not realize, and I'm not saying that because of me. I'm saying the kids buy into it. They want it. They understand it. And we've just had great players.
The growth of softball you've seen in your time at UAH. How fun has that been part of to see the sport grow as much as it has?
Oh, listen, I tell this story every time I can. When I first got here 29 years ago, I went out to meet some high school coaches, and a slow pitch coach who was a legend said that fast pitch was just a phase and it would never last. And I said, it is going to be the best sport in Madison County. And I'm telling you, I don't know how many state championships we brought home in this county, but I mean, you think of the glory years of Madison Academy, Sparkman. I mean, Grissom has one. I mean, so many great teams. I don't want Hazel Green. I don't want to leave anybody out, but the softball in North Alabama and Madison County is you can throw rocks and hit players and bounce off and hit players again.
Keith is wanting me to mention Huntsville, so
Does Huntsville have a state championship? I know that Lindsay Watley.
I couldn't remember that right off the top of my head, but
it's been a minute. But I think they have one.
Yeah, okay.
I think they won one with Lindsay Watley.
Yeah, that's been a minute. Yeah.
Yep, that's been probably 15 or so years. But I mean,
y'all talking?
I mean, it's hard to win. It's hard to win in this city, man. Yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, everybody's good.
Yeah, and it's a great facility for those that have not gone out to Charger Park. It's it's really neat how you got the little thoroughfare and where Hunter Royer parks and how often you hit his vehicle and.
We have those girls love to hit him over there in his truck. I mean, they love him, but they love hitting that truck.
Yeah. He needs to park it behind the left field fair pole. So I mean, let's hit it a little bit more frequently.
That's a great idea, Steve.
Coach, I'm so happy for you and your team. Safe travels to Clinton, and we'll be rooting you on there big time.
Go Chargers, man. If loving the Chargers is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Absolutely. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks for having me on.
That is Coach Les Studeman as her team heading back to the NCAA tournament for the 21st year in a row. That's just an amazing story. And if, it's a case where you're right behind the eight ball because usually pitching arms kind of wear out. And legitimately right now, that Charger team has 2 starters.
So the people that got hurt, are they back?
No.
Okay, they're out for the season.
Yeah. So, losing Schertz was a big deal, and she was a big-time arm in that rotation, which, but nonetheless, that does not diminish the fact of what this team has been able to accomplish with Katie Bracken, who threw a no-hitter in the Gulf South Conference softball tournament last weekend down at Chocolaca, and beating West Alabama 1-0, and found out how vital that win was in a big, big way as this team earned the right to go dancing yet again. So congratulations to the Charger softball team. That'll do it for hour number 1. We're going to try this thing called hour number 2 here on a Monday.
Crazy talk.
I know. A 2-hour show.
Great way to start a week. I'm usually halfway to my truck by now on a Monday.
A 2-hour show.
I mean, I love being here.
There is plenty to talk about, including who would have been the number 1 overall draft pick in this year's draft had he been eligible. I'll have that for you. Plus some winners and losers. And yes, Joel Klatt has come out with his top 25 rankings for college football. Get ready. We don't need to play the season. I'll have that for you next.
Hi folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
Jim Basketball Eastern Conference semis tonight. It's game one for the Pacers and Knicks. ESPN bet has New York as a 5.5-point favorite. 217.5 is your total. Keep in mind, over the last 10 for each team, they're 8-2. That over has hit. 8th playoff meeting between these two teams. Third most common playoff matchup in Knicks history. One that Chris Canty says has to go their way.
I am fully expecting the New York Knicks to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Anything less is not just a disappointment, it's a failure.
I think that argument could be made.
If the New York Knicks don't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, after the series that they just came out of, after the draw that they're going to get in the second round as opposed to the alternative, they damn well better get to the Eastern Conference Finals. This is a situation now, if you're the New York Knicks, after that war that you just got out of with the Sixers, if you can't find your way to the conference finals, it has to be viewed as a failure.
Meantime, Western Conference Semis Game 2, Wolves and the defending champion Nuggets. Minnesota took Game 1 behind 43 for Anthony Edwards. The Nuggets are a 6.5-point favorite at home, looking to get even in the series. Minnesota currently riding a 5-game playoff win streak, 3 straight wins on the road. Mavericks coach Jason Kidd has signed a multi-year contract extension. Dallas advanced last week by eliminating the Clippers in 6 games. It's Game 1 against Oklahoma City tomorrow. ESPN radio coverage comes your way at 9 Eastern. Game 1, Bruins-Panthers tonight from sunrise. ESPN has it at 8 Eastern. And the Phillies today win their 6th straight overall, 10 in a row at home, sweeping 4 from the Giants 6-1.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty, coming on Tuesday. I'll tell you just how many teams left in the playoffs can actually win the title. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
'97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Plenty to chew on, Aaron, for the first hour. A little Alabama talk, a little UAH talk. For those that may be new to this very station, well, first of all, welcome in. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I am a connoisseur of play-by-play. And I enjoy seeing other people at the highest level of their craft. And I would put Larry Collins right at the top of that list. And you may ask, who is Larry Collins? Well,
it is Mystic Dan down toward the inside with the lead in the final 16th. Forever Young, Sierra Leone is coming. These 3 coming down to the wire. Who's it going to be? Oh, it's a photo of the Derby. Oh, it's a photo. Was it Mystic Dan or was it Sierra Leone? Forever Young was between them, catching freedom, finished 4th. A photo finish to decide the 150th Kentucky Derby.
So it was Mystic Dan, but he is doing that. I saw what has become popular is now the camera on the play-by-play guy, and Larry is calling this via binoculars. And I mean, I will do that occasionally with hockey because sometimes the numbers are harder to read. That's all I'm saying. But I've never done like because he did that for the full loop. And to have binoculars on for the full way, I just, that scares me to death. But
you got to train yourself.
That
was fun to watch.
Yes, it was.
And my wife, who loves the Kentucky Derby. But
you ever been?
No, and
my wife is into horses too,
but Huntsville High's prom was, and the kids were taking the pictures at the same time. So she walked in the door right after the race was over, and I immediately just rewinded it. I said, "Have you looked at your phone?" She said, "No." I said, "Don't come in here," and so we watched it.
There you go.
Watched
there
it.
You go.
Yeah, but she loves the whole thing. The horses.
Does she like the pre-race more than the race?
What her whole thing is, as long as everybody gets out of the gate clean, she can't stand to see a horse because she knows
there was a little bunch up there at the very beginning.
Nobody got hurt. The horses didn't get hurt. She's not worried about the jockeys. She's worried about.
They pay the jockeys. They don't pay the horses.
She don't.
Well, come on now. The horses are very well taken care of.
Yeah, she don't want to hear click, click, boom. I guess they don't shoot them anymore. They probably just give them a lethal dose.
I'm friends with his wife, Kim, and Keith is the gold standard for husband, Steve. We need to be learning from this man.
Fair enough.
Those of us who have had a couple of tries at it, we need to be listening to what Keith has to say.
I am all for listening. Yeah. So something that I did do Saturday night, I went to go see a movie, and my wife and I did something I have not done since like the mid-'90s. We went to go see Fall Guy.
Yeah.
Halfway through it, we both looked at each other and was like, "No, sorry, we're out."
It's been a long time since I walked out of a movie.
Yeah, walked out of a movie.
So I'm guessing it wasn't Lee Majors.
No. Well, evidently he had a cameo.
Really?
And I walked out before I got to see Lee Majors.
Well, Lee Majors is the Fall Guy. He's the $6 million man.
Yeah.
There is no replacement.
So you would think it'd be easy to make a good movie about the stuntman.
Yes. No, I wish I could give you a wholehearty recommendation for the Fall Guy, but I'm not your guy on that one.
Well, here's another thing. After we've been married 25, maybe 26 years now. It's coming up.
Gold standard over here. He knows it right off the top of his head.
No.
I'm messing with you.
I'm an aging gentleman. Memory goes. I can do the math real fast, but I didn't want to take up too much time. Anyway, I know the year we got married. So, never seen a movie together.
Really?
She doesn't like theaters. So it's too cold. And then if anything has a runtime of over 2 hours, no way she can sit still for 2 hours. So if you want to go see 3-hour epic or whatever, she won't even watch those at home, unless it's Gone with the Wind, what she's seen 17,000 times. If it's on, she's watching it again. She always says
we watched that in Georgia history class.
I'm sure. But yeah, usually if I go in my bedroom, there's a movie that's on that's really old that she's already seen a whole bunch of times, and that's when I just head downstairs, head to the man cave.
Oh, goodness. Well, the NBA playoffs continue coming up here tonight, and listen, you saw a couple of Game 7s in the NHL over the weekend, and the Stars were able to pull it off at home over the defending champs there in the Vegas Golden Knights. That was a fun game to watch, but to me, equally as fun was the first game between the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And Minnesota's up in that series 1-0. This after Denver disposed of the Lakers, and Minnesota burnt out the Suns in their first-round matchup. But there is a guy who's starting to get it, and it's Anthony Edwards.
Starting to.
Well, and when I say get it, I mean to that level of superstardom where he's just starting to float a little bit. And last time I mentioned someone floating a little bit, Air Jordan. I mean, the comparisons are starting to come out between Michael Jordan and Anthony Edwards. And I don't know how real that is, but we do have someone who's going to join us here in about 5 minutes' time who played with Michael Jordan, played against Michael Jordan, and was a part of the Bad Boy Pistons back in the day as well, and that is Scott Hastings from Altitude Sports, covers the Denver Nuggets. They are the defending champs, but to me, I really think we're going to see a different kind of Denver team and a more focused team. I don't see them losing tonight, but we'll find out whether or not the Minnesota's for real, because this does remind me a little bit in some respects of 97 with the Hawks going into Chicago, winning game 1 against the Bulls, and all it did was tick off the Bulls, and they won in 5 games.
Yeah.
So, not to say that this Minnesota team compares to that 97 Hawks team. This is, I think, a better team than that 97 Hawks team.
So this is a little early still for me to be watching basketball.
Yeah.
First round playoffs usually I don't catch. But, Hayden's been home. Hayden loves basketball, so I've been watching a lot of basketball. And Denver didn't, I watched them last year in the last, usually I watch the semis and the finals.
Yeah.
And Denver does not look like the same team to me right now.
There is only one man to ask, and that's Scott Hastings. He's going to join us next as we're going to take a timeout right now, and we'll talk to Scott Hastings coming up next right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
What if I told you that Bigfoot is real and that he's making the best donuts you've ever had? Come see for yourself at Bigfoot's Little Donuts. Come in and order from over 50 flavors, all made hot and delicious. Ranked in the top 100 donut shops in the nation by Yelp. Bigfoot Little Donuts, South Parkway, Huntsville, and County Line Road, Madison. This week, our zone deal features $50 worth of Bigfoot's Little Donuts for just $25. Get yours while they last at 977ESPN.com. The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
Electric cars are coming faster than you think, and that's why we're bringing SEMA Connect to Alabama.
Our team educates you and helps provide a long-term plan for your business. Where to put them, how to get them there, how to pay for them, tax incentives, service, and monitoring. We take care of everything.
Doing the right thing means bringing EV car chargers to Alabama. Let us help you with your EV charging plan.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Hi folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
What if I told you that Bigfoot is real and that he's making the best donuts you've ever had? Come see for yourself at Bigfoot's Little Donuts. Come in and order from over 50 flavors, all made hot and delicious. Ranked in the top 100 donut shops in the nation by Yelp. Bigfoot Little Donuts. Order in store or online at bigfootslittledonuts.com for pickup or delivery from Grub South or DoorDash. South Parkway, Huntsville, and County Line Road, Madison. Bigfoot's Little Donuts.
Each week, check out our latest zone deal online at 977ESPN.com.
I'm eating good food.
We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Well, I'm not the kind to
See, had the movie started this way,
This is actually Lee Major singing the theme.
But I'm telling you, I would have stayed for the movie. That would have played a factor. Because I would have known evidently Lee Majors has a cameo late in it.
I saw some of the pictures on social media, but I don't know. I never put it together that there was another one. I don't even register that anymore.
We gave it.
I mean, like Smokey and the Bandit is a documentary, and some of these things just don't need to be remade.
So I want to say the start time on the movie ticket, and yeah, I bought a movie ticket. It wasn't a digital thing. Said 7:20, so it probably started like around 7:40ish.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, and we gave it a solid hour and a half. Because it was a little after 9 p.m. when we both looked at each other and we were like, yeah.
Yeah, no.
And it's not as if it's cheap to go to the movies. So, I mean...
That's a big decision right there. Do I write it out? I've got so much invested.
All right, so what was the movie Burt Reynolds did about a stuntman?
Is that Stroker Ace?
That's Stroker Ace.
Yeah,
because it's also got Jim Nabors in it.
Yeah, because they filmed some of that in Tuscaloosa.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the towers come down.
Yeah.
That's where they end up putting the mall. I don't know what that was there before. But, so Stroker Ace is still the best movie ever made about a stuntman.
I haven't seen Stroker Ace in forever. That's the same movie he was wearing the chicken suit? Or is that a different one?
I think that's one the Cannonball runs.
Okay, all right. I see. It's other than
old school movies right there, buddy.
Yeah.
I remember back in the old days.
Yeah. So there you go. Getting ready for game number 2 between the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota is undefeated so far during this playoff run. And including that is a road win at Denver in the first game. Karl Anthony Towns is playing well, so is Rudy Gobert. But Anthony Edwards and some guy named Mike Conley, for you Memphis Grizzlies fans, may remember. But
I think Rudy's out tonight.
He is listed, at least in the starting lineup,
okay,
that I've got the notes in front of me. But we shall see, as Scott Hastings is set to join us here on loan from Altitude Sports. And Scott Hastings is kind enough to join us up there in Denver. How are you, sir?
Is this my Huntsville boys calling me finally?
Yes, sir, it is. Yes, sir. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing, as they used to say back in my day, I'm doing Jim Dandy.
So, what do you think we're going to see different tonight compared to Game 1 against the Timberwolves?
Well, there's only one thing people in the area of the country that I live, which is Denver, Colorado, really wants to see differently, and that would be outcome. That would be first and foremost. You still got to contend with Anthony Ant-Man, who is amazing. I mean, I think he's. Someone asked me from ESPN the other day. We were walking off after game one. He said, "Who does he remind you of?" And I said, "He's a little arrogant. I wish he would mellow the edges of arrogance, but he reminds me kind of a young Kobe. A lot of people have said a young Jordan, obviously with his jumping ability, but he's got a little bit of, yeah. I mean, either one of those two guys. I mean, he might be the modern 2020 renditions of kind of a Jordan Kobe type. All played guard, all strong for their bodies, and all had this kind of killer instinct. So you're not going to be able to stop that guy, but you got to slow him down. You got to. What I would bank on, and you know what? I don't know if you guys know this much about my career. No one's paid me to coach yet in the NBA, so this is all old guy stuff. You know, sitting in the barbershop. I would whatever you do is you got to lean on him, you got to bother him, you can't let him breathe, and you hope that in a long series, the guy who's still kind of new to this playoff thing eventually wears out just a little bit, and maybe you take advantage of him by the time you get late in the series, hopefully 5, 6, 7. So I think you got to do that. He's still going to get his, but can you wear him down as the series goes? And then they got to be more efficient. You know, Denver scored 99 in game one. On the surface, you allow 106 points. That should be good enough to win in the NBA these days. But you only scored 99, and Denver this season, when scoring sub 100, is now 0-9. So they've got to be more efficient. They struggled in the Lakers series with their shooting efficiency and everything else. But that being said, Minnesota's a better team by about 5 light years than the LA Lakers. So, you know, that's still not a guarantee. But they got to shoot the basketball better. They can't have the wide disparity in defense from the first half to the second half. And then let's see if they can, you know, win home court, get this going 1-1 back to Minnesota.
Well, clearly the problem with the Lakers was the head coach. I mean, that's everything's going to be fixed because they're going to get a new head coach.
Yeah, I'm more on this one. I would be in the Charles Barkley camp. They always look at head coaches and they tend to forget who put these teams together. Now, again, in the head coach's defense in L.A., the GM and LeBron James probably put this team together. So that's you got to look at, but no one's going to do that as long as the shine of the star of LeBron James is kind of intact, and in La La Land it's still intact.
Well, since he is not asking it, my partner up here, I'll ask it. What is different about this Denver team this year compared to last year?
Starting five is better, and I think that's just another year of growth together.
Yeah.
But that being said, the bench is not better, and and listen, I had an old buddy of mine who's a coach. And I went up and worked his basketball camps up in Idaho, and we went to this famous steakhouse. I believe it was called the Pioneer Club, and supposedly the prime rib was so big that one time Will Chamberlain couldn't even finish it. That was the claim to fame. And he had 3 little boys, and they're like saying, "Daddy, can we get a steak? We want a steak." And he goes, "No, you can eat hamburger." "No, Daddy, we want a steak. We want a steak." And I go, "Come on, Fred, let them have steak." He said, "No, they'll have hamburger." Pretty forceful. Turned to me and said, "Here's what you're going to learn." I was like 19, 20 maybe. He goes, "When you have kids, you make them eat hamburger for as long as you can, because the first time you give them steak, they're always going to want steak." The Nuggets ate steak last year. And I think it was a bit of a grind during the regular season, and now they're back in the postseason. I just haven't seen that urgency from them in the first 6 games that I saw in 20 games last year, and they got to find that back. They've got to find that hunger for steak, and not that it's just ho hum. We get that every meal. So that would be one thing. I haven't, and maybe losing, to be honest with you, game 1 sparked something in them and say, hey fellas, I know we all got rings, but 2 is always better than 1. So we shall see. I just have not seen the hunger. I was talking to a guy today. You think about their bench who played mostly off the bench last year, and it was Bruce Brown, Green. Well, what all 3 of those guys have in common? They never won a championship before. Now you bring guys off the bench this year, and kind of everyone was a part of that, and they have that championship. Can you find that hunger? And with that hunger comes an unbelievable, sense of urgency and effort and energy, and they really haven't had that yet. But let's see if losing game 1 at home changes that.
How good of a coach is Mike Malone?
Well, listen, I don't know if you're a dummy coach if you can win an NBA championship, and I'm not sure you could a dummy coach if you can stay in one place for 9 seasons and have the success and the record that they've had. But it's a new challenge. Listen, going through the playoffs to win a championship was the first time for him, so he had to learn to deal with it. Obviously very successful doing so. Now he has to deal with, you're the hunted, and he just went through the regular season. You were the hunted for 82 games. You were everybody's homecoming. You were everybody's prize night this season. And now, whenever you're referred to, and whether it's the national, locker room shows or whatever, defending champs, you are now going through another process that as a team and as a head coach, you never had to handle. So he's still learning, I think. But listen, there ain't nothing wrong with Michael's coaching right now.
I mean, Jokic in particular, to see his growth is fun to watch, but why don't you think he gets as much publicity as I think he deserves to get? Or, I mean, you're living right there inside the trees. Do you think he's getting all the credit that he needs and then some?
No, he still hasn't. I think this year was a bit of a turning point. I think he looks funny. I think he plays a different game than the NBA has sold over the last decade and or two. Of playing above the rim, shooting tons of threes, doing the bing, and he plays more of a team basketball, move guys around. You need me outside, I'll be outside. He doesn't block tons of
Did we lose you, Scott?
sold the last decade plus, and I think when he won that first one, they just kind of looked at the stats. In the second year, as well, look at him. Well, the second year he won an MVP. His stats were better than his first year. And then last year, I think they were better again. But, thank God Joel Embiid averaged 35 and his team lost the first round because, that 35, he's the best player in the league. And Joker just went ahead, let's win a championship. And, by the way, I still got an MVP. It was called a finals MVP.
Yeah.
And then this year, I felt this year people finally realized, and including Piers, because I think Piers thought this was some sort of fluke for a while. And I think even Piers, if you watch all those shows, everybody in Huntsville and Fayetteville, Arkansas both have podcasts, so they all talk about it. I think they've more or less finally woke up to the fact that, gosh dang, he's kind of been doing this for 8 or 9 years, and every time he does some new feat, the names he's matching or tying records with, those guys named are Wilt Chamberlain, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. Wow, maybe he is pretty good. So I think this year he finally got his due. Again, Denver's not a sexy market. It's a funny time zone, all the different stuff. And I just think New York and ESPN, or LA and ESPN in particular, had their own agendas of what they wanted to see. They got their agenda passed through last year, and this year I don't think it could do any good.
Because after game 1, I had to go back and just tell myself this is a 3 seed against a 2 seed and not like an 8 seed versus a 2 seed, because I have that mindset of Minnesota not being a high seed type of team, but they are certainly playing that way. They have yet to lose in the playoffs, Scott.
Well, yeah, and here's another thing to remember. They were the number 1 seed for the majority of the time in the Western Conference, and then, Oklahoma City took it over for a while. Denver took it back over for a while. Oklahoma City and Denver tied with identical records, and if it weren't for Minnesota lost a couple games late in the season, they basically had the control of their own destiny and were going to be the number 1 seed. So, I mean, in essence, had they played better down the stretch, they'd be sitting there at 1, and this series would be Oklahoma City and Denver right now. But listen, they were the one team last year. They were the only team last year in Denver's run to a championship that I was nervous about. And the biggest reason is their president of basketball operations, Tim Conley, has built that team. He built the Nuggets, who finally went on this run. And I think when he built Minnesota, I will stand by this till the day I die, he built Minnesota to beat Denver. And so when you got an architect that obviously knows what he's doing, and you put him in a charge and you're in the same division with, and his goal was to, how do we match up and beat Denver? Oh, well, let's have 3 7-footers we can run at Joker all the time. Let's have long 6'7" guys that are lanky, can play defense, who can guard Murray and bother him on those step-back shots. And well, let's see if the other guys on the team are good enough on their own to beat you. And that's what he did, and that's who they are. And listen, people ask, were you surprised they lost game 1? My answer is no, because I think if you don't – Denver, I will say this, I think even though they're the 2 seeds, Minnesota's the favorite as far as I'm concerned in this series, just from their numbers 1 through 9 versus Denver 1 through 9.
Wow. Scott Hastings joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. So of the final 4 teams left in the West, how many of those 4 teams could come out of the East and be in the finals, you think?
3.
Yep.
To be honest with you, maybe 2. I mean, I like New York. In fact, personally, I like New York when I saw them in the season. Now, we only see the East twice, right? We see Boston twice, which I think we swept Boston and we split with New York. I thought Boston team is built as a playoff team because they can downright, especially trading for Anunoby, they can downright get physical, dirty, and get your chili and not let you eat it, right? I like New York. In fact, I still kind of like New York coming out of the East. But I think Boston, New York, Oklahoma City, who still may be a little too young to do it all, Minnesota, who got their heart broken last year in 5 games to Denver, and Denver, I think those are the 5 best teams left playing. And isn't it funny that 3 of the 4 teams that are still playing in the Western Conference are all from the same division? Just think about that for a second.
That? Yeah. Do you have you were in the playoffs so often as a player. Do you have a favorite playoff story? It doesn't have to be with the Bad Boys. I'm thinking of one of my favorite Hawks teams with that series against the Celtics. But by all means, do you have a favorite playoff story that kind of maybe encapsulates, from a player's perspective, what the playoffs mean to the players?
Well, I'll give you titles, and you can choose which ones you want. Well, gosh, I don't know.
The floor is yours. I'm going to turn off my microphone.
Well, my first playoff is with Atlanta, and they didn't put me on the roster, so I was in Boston Garden, and I was in a suit coat. In fact, if you go back and find the film, you can see me coming out with a really nice corduroy sport coat, which I think was the only one I owned, with leather sleeves. But we get in a tussle with Boston, and I mean it's swinging, and benches back before they find everybody on the bench because you came out. So we come out there, and there's a big scramble, and Danny Ainge and Tree Rollins had gotten into it, and out of the big pile-up comes Danny Ainge, and he's bleeding his hand, his fingers. He's holding his hand. He has to be bleeding. Well, it turned out Tree Rollins bit his finger in the bottom of the scrum. I asked him when we got back in locker, I said, Tree, did you bite Danny? He goes, yep. I said, why? He goes, Scott, I was in the bottom of that pile. He said, something went in my mouth. He said, Ainge was trying to scratch his eyes. He said, and all of a sudden, something was in my mouth that wasn't supposed to be there, and I tried to bite it off. So I think Ainge had to have 7 stitches. Wow. The headline in the Boston Globe the next day was Tree Bites Man, or something like that, which I thought was a good thing. But the sidebar on that story, we come back to the timeout, and Dominique is just mad. He's going, mother, raggle, frackin', dragon, you know. And I go, Neek, what's up, man? And he goes, frickin' Bird. I said, well, what'd he do? He said, when Tree was down there and they were fighting and stuff, we were on the circle, and he was just holding on to me, and I was holding on to him. And the whole time he's saying, I wish that was me and you. I wish that was me and you. I'd be kicking your ass. I wish that was. And so I guess Bird, in the middle of spectating a fight, Monique, that he wishes it was him and Neek on the bottom of the pile fighting because Bird would have whooped him. So that's what when Tree Bites Man and Bird gets the last word, I guess.
Were you on the Hawks team when the Hawks played the Celtics in New Orleans? Was that an exhibition game?
Oh, yeah. No, it was a regular season. The Atlanta Hawks sold 11 of their home games to somebody in New Orleans, and we played 11 home games there.
That's my Hawks.
That was one of our home games.
Yeah.
If you go back and look for brown hair, I had brown hair back then too. A thinner, brown-haired white dude with the number 44. I was on a couple of them plays. I got a few of them points. In fact, the funny thing about that game, that was a regular season game. We went and at the end of the game, we were going, dang, he got 50. He goes, no, man, he only got 18 on me. He got 25 on Don. And everybody was trying to count their points up to 60 to figure out who was guarding Bird so Bird could get that 60. Again, if you look on the bench, I'm the white dude there, and if you notice, I'm holding a towel.
Yeah.
And every time he would do something, the rest of the guys, my teammates, they're sitting with me, it got so comical. They're jumping up off the bench, and they're running around. It's like an N1 game. They're jumping up around, and they're going crazy. And if you notice me, who I would just say, Mama didn't raise no fool, I stayed seated, but I keep putting that towel up to my face. And so in the old films, you can't hear me screaming and laughing, but I got my face covered, and I sat there. Well, all them other guys that were jumping up and leaving the bench and high-fiving all got fined at the end of that game for celebrating Bird dropping 60 on us.
You mentioned that corduroy suit with the leather sleeves. I'm guessing Chuck Daly would not have approved that. I guess that's more of a Mike Fratello look than it is a Chuck Daly look.
Yeah, that was Alabama prom 1978 look is what that was. That was corduroy jacket. The whole sleeves weren't leather. I think just the what they used to call
the elbows.
Them elbow patches.
Yeah,
the elbow patch.
Yeah.
Come on now. Come on now.
They're better when they're suede.
Hey, that's right. I was sitting in high cotton back then. I was dapper.
Oh, so will there be leather on the sleeves tonight in Denver for you, sir?
Nah, because God has blessed me. I mean that sincerely. I get to do radio. We're off the television. We do a little pregame and postgame thing. But as far as the call of the game, I get to call the game on radio tonight.
That's
92.5
perfect.
Altitude Sports Radio. So I will be on the radio call tonight with Jason Kosminski.
That is fantastic. And something I feel obligated to say, I know the next regular season game for Steve Holman, the voice of the Hawks, will be game number 3,000. I know he's trying to chase down Chick, but I can't. Man, he has seen a lot of bad basketball. And when I told him that, he about wanted to backhand me, so...
Well, I tell you what is funny. I was playing for the Hawks during Steve's first year as an announcer.
That's right. That's
so
right.
I remember Steve. Obviously, we're still good friends. So so I've been in the league. I was playing. So he's got however many years that is in the league, but I got at least 2 or 3 more in the league because I think he came in like in. What did he come in, 84, 85?
I want to say it was 85. I think 85, 86 was his first full-time year.
Yeah, and say, listen, I was a 3-year vet by then. He's still young to me. He's still a kid. But yeah, no, Stevie's a good guy. Good guy.
I joked.
Long-time broadcaster.
I joked with him back in
Atlanta.
I joked with him back in the 90s when I was part of the Hawks broadcast that I was his fill-in backup broadcaster, and I just kind of joked with him about that. So fast forward to what he's about to eclipse with 3,000. I still text him saying, your backups would still love an opportunity to call a Hawks game, which I still want to, but he gets a kick out of that. But,
well, you know what his backups are good for? Refilling his red wine glass.
There's a lot of truth in that.
There's a lot of truth in that.
Yes, there is. I cannot thank you enough for hopping on, especially on a game day. Have a great call tonight, and I'm expecting this series to be tied at 1 tonight.
Yeah, I am too. If it's not, maybe we could call and talk about Arkansas basketball trying to get back on the map.
Well, I'd say you're on the map pretty good with John Calipari leading the troops up there.
Well, now that the Congress and the government and the NCAA has allowed cheating to be legal, who best to lead the charge? Who has been getting away with it when it wasn't quite so for the last 30 years.
Well, he lost his advantage.
Well, hey, you know what? He may have, but guess what? He still pulls a lot of good talent, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he does, and he's putting together a pretty good team already there in Fayetteville out of the transfer portal. Pig Suey in a big way. And, Scott, thank you so much for hopping on. Always great to talk with you, sir.
Guys, anytime, and let's hope we can do this a couple more times for the playoffs this year.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Have a good call tonight.
All right, man.
Steer clear of that red wine. There's a lot of backstories. Anyway, the first half of the doubleheader going on tonight has just tipped it up in New York with Indiana at New York. A little bit of history between those two squads as the Pacers lead at 8-6. That game is on TNT and True TV. And then later on tonight, it will be Minnesota at Denver. I did not read anything, but there is a report that the NBA games, especially the playoffs and regular season, could go behind a paywall and get out of Turner and go to either Amazon or some other kind of streaming service and just be kind of a little more ESPN Plus-ish. But that also would mean the death of Inside the NBA. And
it's one of my favorite shows.
The show is, and Ernie Johnson has already come out and said, if Turner loses the NBA, I'm not going anywhere. He is staying put. He has been, I think he's had 2 jobs in this business. One was at WSB in Atlanta, and the other is at Turner.
Wasn't he at CNN for a while?
Well, yeah. It
Which
was
is Turner.
Same building.
And who was it? Because they used to have their own sports center.
Oh, yeah. That was...
Is it black? It was him and a black guy. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, Fred Hickman.
Yeah, Fred Hickman.
Fred Hickman.
I used to watch that sometimes.
Vince Cellini was also... Yeah. That was briefly Dan Patrick on CNN before he moved over to ESPN. But, yeah, no. But I really hope So I'm really hopeful that the NBA stays on TNT selfishly. So we can just all make sure that the band stays together, because there's also been further reports that NBC, Peacock, is trying to pull it over to Peacock behind that paywall and bring Kenny, bring Charles, and bring Shaq. But I heard Chuck say it last week on the Dan Patrick Show that show works because of Ernie. Yeah. And I wholeheartedly agree with it. So here's for hoping that this is not the final hurrah.
It is probably the funniest late night show that you can watch.
Oh, yeah. It's great. And even the other night with Dirk Nowitzki, that was Chuck saying, how much money would it take to go to Auburn for Dirk back in the day? Anyway, by the way, Knicks up 12-8 now. 7 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Again, later on tonight, Denver and Minnesota, don't you know? That is also on TNT and True TV. Let's take our final timeout. Final call for phone calls on what has been a busy Monday. A 2-hour show.
Didn't y'all used to do 3?
Yes, we did.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Did you know that Valley Equipment Rental also specializes in day and weekend rentals to homeowners? The weekend rentals is by far the best deal that they offer. If you pick up after 2 on a Friday or anytime Saturday morning, it's not due in until Monday morning before 8 a.m. for a one-day charge. For a small fee, Valley can even haul anything they carry. Valley has extremely experienced and knowledgeable staff that can help you decide what size machine you need or what type of machine you need to get your job done like a pro. They have all the big items that the contractors need for their jobs, but they also carry the small tools that can help you with your DIY project. More importantly, Valley is locally owned and operated, which means when you have an issue, you can get someone on it right away, right here in the Valley. Heck, ask for Ross Roberts, the owner, if you like. Try calling one of the big box national outlets and ask for the owner. That's if you can even get through the automation. Buy local. Buy Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental has 2 locations, one on the North and South Parkway. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that His mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Make your taste buds come alive with a visit to Huntsville's newest taste sensation, Salt Factory Pub at Mid-City, offering a creative menu featuring a variety of classic comfort foods with international influences. Salt Factory Pub is the perfect destination for everyone. Salt Factory Pub also has an unbeatable beer list of more than 50 different draft and bottled brews. Just a short walk from the Orion Amphitheater, Salt Factory Pub is the perfect spot for great food in an inviting and casual atmosphere. Find out more online at salthuntsville.com. When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Relatively warm as we head into the overnight. It also looks like we're probably going to end up staying dry across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures only dropping into the mid and upper 60s. A partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky for your Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the mid and upper 80s. We are making a solid run at 90 degrees. Showers and thunderstorms are going to be possible across the Tennessee Valley as we head into overnight early into your Thursday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We cover all the SEC schools, including Western Union and Venmo.
I want that money!
You know, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Coming up on the program tomorrow, the voice of the Atlanta Braves, Ben Ingram, is going to join us, and that'll walk you up to Alabama baseball. Yep, we are carrying the midweek game because it's a big one, as the Troy Trojans are ranked 22nd in the country. Yeah, so a big midweek game for Alabama baseball before they welcome in the LSU Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, the final homestand of the year. LSU won 2 out of 3 over the weekend against the Aggies. Coming up on Wednesday, Bill Clark will be on the program, the former UAB head football coach. That'll be fun to talk to Bill Clark coming up on Wednesday. Final call for phone calls, 256-576-4977. What is the one song you hear a lot in this state? A lot.
Sweet Home Alabama.
Sweet Home Alabama. There is no doubt about that.
And Neil Young was here last night.
Was he? Oh, that's right. That's right.
Southern man don't need him around anyhow.
Yeah. I didn't go. Actually, I think Leonard Skinner and Neil Young buried the hatchet years and years ago.
In this AI world, there is now someone who's come up with a metal cover of Sweet Home Alabama. Let's all enjoy.
Big wheels keep on turning. Tell me home just
Kinda
like him.
sounds like Sweet Home Alabama.
With a heavier bass.
Is this the Kid Rock version?
It does sound like that. That is
which I also don't approve of.
Leo Marconi. Yeah. Hey, yeah, I'm with you. This has a lot of Kid Rock feel to it.
It just sounds like a heavier bass.
And so there is another group that is covering songs, and they are 9 and 11. These are two girls named Axia and Nirvana. And they have covered songs like Crazy Train. There you go.
Get them young, train them right.
I just want to hear the lyrics.
There aren't any lyrics.
So, no singing. I was hoping there'd be some singing. I just wanted to hear a 9-year-old singing Crazy Train. It's really good for 9 and 11. So, that is...
Get them young, train them right.
Yeah, clearly.
Got to have a classical education.
We have covered quite a bit here on the program. There is some portal news, as just because the portal is closed doesn't mean that the portal is completely closed. If you're still in the portal, then...
It's closed to get in, not to...
Yes, you can still land.
You still find a home.
Akron, the Zips' former offensive lineman, Ronan Chambers. He is now an Auburn Tiger. So... Auburn gets a little more depth along their offensive line.
Which is needed. At least it used to be needed.
He was originally committed to Tulane. But following his visit to the Plains over the weekend, and I'm sure the fine folks at the On to Victory Club down there, he is now all orange and blue and screaming War Eagle. So, Ronan Chambers is now an Auburn Tiger. There is also a story earlier today, this from 247, that settlement talks are heating up between the House v. the NCAA lawsuit, which could see the college sports governing body owe something in the neighborhood of $2.9 billion in back damages. Questionings surrounding possible arraignment could be implemented. So there's still a lot of fog around this story.
Am I getting any money out of this?
How far does this go back? This goes back to 1982. So
Wes and I both.
I'm telling you, there may be a $5 check in there for you if you play your cards right. There have been a lot of people who play college football since 1982.
Yes.
So, but you know who will ultimately win in the end, and that is the lawyers. They are definitely getting
I think
paid.
in a class action they get 30%, maybe a little bit more.
Oh, I did not tell you Joel Klatt's top 25 for college football. I've got a little bit of time here. At number 25 is Texas. I'll just give you the SEC teams. Does not have Auburn. And for Auburn fans out there, I mean, I would take that as a good sign. Because the last year they won the national championship, I think they were preseason number 17.
17 or 18, yeah.
Tennessee is at 16. Oh, I'm sorry, Oklahoma is at 17. Tennessee is at 16. LSU is at 14. Your top 10 from Joel Klatt is Missouri at number 10, Penn State number 9, Michigan is number 8, number 7, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Just ahead of Bama is Utah at number 6. Your top 5 begins in Oxford, Mississippi with the Rebels. Ole Miss, number 5, they're not sneaking up on anybody. Number 4 is the Ducks of Oregon, the Big Ten Ducks of Oregon. That sounds weird. Texas is at number 3. Number 2, the Georgia Bulldogs. And Joel Klatt's number 1 preseason team, they bought it. The Ohio State University.
So I'm not sure if I believe in Ole Miss yet or Missouri, just SEC.
Yeah, I think Missouri might be a tad bit overhyped myself.
I mean, if you pick them as your dark horse, then
is that what it is?
Yeah.
I was a year ahead of myself last year. I don't like them as much this year.
But usually it's Kentucky that you jinx.
Well, that's a tradition unlike any other. You know, he is now the most tenured coach in the SEC.
Oh, yeah.
He's the most tenured coach in Lexington. Doesn't have to worry about bickering with the basketball coach.
Not yet.
That is going to wrap up this 2-hour marathon. Oh, my gosh. Cannot believe 2 hours of a talk show. We're going to go back to 1 hour tomorrow. Have a good night.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama.
Alabama!
Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
Wanna be cowbells and swamp. The ag is wrong. There's nothing like the SEC.